There is a conversation or a theme that has been coming up a lot recently with my friends, with myself. And when I start to see a theme like this with the people that are around me, I wonder if it isn't a theme for those of you listening or those of you watching. And so today, that's what I want to dive into. And that is this idea or this feeling of anxiety and overwhelm that is pervasive. It just feels like everywhere we turn, there's situations that are causing us this anxiety. So today, I really want you to imagine that we're sitting down having a cup of coffee. And I have my favorite coffee mug here, if you're watching on YouTube, which just says, "Today I will give myself grace and remind myself how far I've come." If you've been having these feelings, then I invite you to hang out with me for the next 15 minutes or so. Grab a cup of coffee. If it's later in the night and you want to grab a cup of wine, that's fine. But let's go ahead and explore this idea. This is All the Damn Things, the podcast committed to helping women achieve your dreams, even after going through deeply challenging experiences. My name is Bevin, the founder of the Take the Damn Chance movement and creator of the Do the Damn Thing method. Yes, I say damn a lot, but it does mean something. It stands for Decide and Declare, Attend Your Own Party, Moments Not Minutes, and Now is the Time. When it's come to navigating my own deeply challenging experiences and bringing my biggest dreams to life, this framework has changed my life, and I know that it can make a huge impact on yours. Before we get started, there is a phrase that you will not hear me say today, and that is, "I know how you are feeling." In all difficult situations that I've been in, that I've seen my clients and my friends in, that statement of, "Oh, I know exactly how you're feeling," is designed to create connection, but it actually shuts connection down. It stops us from being able and willing to share how we are feeling because that other person has said, "Oh, I already know. I already know how you're feeling." And so I'm going to try my best to avoid that statement, but I'm going to invite you to consider another one. And that is, "I can imagine how you're feeling," or "I can only imagine how you're feeling." I once was listening to, I believe it was Nora McInerney, talk about her husband passing away, and people would say to her, "I can't imagine how you're feeling." And she thought, you can and you should, because we're all going to lose somebody at some point. And so I believe that you can imagine it. And so, whatever the specifics are of what's going on in your life, I just want you to know I can imagine how you're feeling because I've had some situations that have caused me anxiety and overwhelm. And if you are human and operating in the world, interacting with other people, you just might be feeling a bit more anxiety and uncertainty and fear than you typically do. For me, I'm not in general a person who operates at a high level of anxiety. I have some people in my life who do. I have so much compassion for that because I can only imagine how it feels to have that level of anxiety with just the world in general. Right now, I do feel a heightened level of anxiety, and the people around me are also experiencing. So if you are feeling that, and I really want to talk to you directly, because I want to be able to share stories with you so that you feel less alone. You feel less isolated. That's one of the reasons I have this podcast, because I believe that when we are willing to share our stories and say what's happening for us, then the people that we share those stories with just might also feel a little less alone. So I hope that through our conversation today, through our coffee chat or our wine chat, you feel a little less alone. And maybe you'll recognize yourself in some of the stories and some of the things I'm sharing today. When I've been watching the news and everything that's happening, whether it's the war going on, well, let's talk specifically about the war, okay? I know, I understand in my body that that is not happening in my neighborhood. And it would be actually very hard for me to imagine. So my my gut is to say I can't even imagine because it would be really hard to, but I can imagine. And sometimes when I imagine what it would be like this, it makes me want to cry. When I imagine what it would be like to have my home bombed, to feel such intense fear for my children's safety and my children's lives, it it tears my heart. And when I imagine that, I find myself spiraling. I find myself getting very worried about the current state of my children's safety and what could happen and what if this happened? What if? What if? When I hear about a school shooting, I think, oh my God, what if? What if that were my kid's school? And the problem with the what if is it can paralyze us. It is us up in our heads. And when we're up in our heads and we're spun up there, it is so easy to just whirl out of control, to spiral out of control and start to think worst case scenario on top of worst case scenario. Now, getting myself grounded back out of the what if into the what is does not mean that I feel any less compassion for the people who are going through that experience that has spun me out. And I think sometimes when we read the social media posts and we're like, "Oh, we're not going to stop sharing these images and these stories because we need to hear them." And yes, we do need to know what's going on in the world. But when you find yourself spun up in that fear, I want you to consider using the pad method in that moment, because we can't make strong decisions. We can't make strong contributions spun up in our heads. Even to make a huge difference in the world of somebody else, you're going to make a stronger decision and a stronger impact when you're grounded back in the present moment, when you have shifted from the what if to the what is. And so the pad method, you get back present in your body. You can do that just by taking a few breaths, by rubbing your fingers over your hands or touching something around you. You can also go to justonedamnminute.com and you can download my favorite meditation to get you back present in the moment. And you will be able to use it in a minute, literally. But you get back present in the moment and you're shifting out of the what if. So for me, the story I was just telling you, I'm shifting out of the what if my children were in danger? What if our house got hit by a bomb or a tornado or fire? My house burned down in 2010. Like, what if? What if our house caught on fire and I had to get 3 children out of the house by myself? That is enough to be crazy making. So instead of being in the what if, we've got to get back to the what is. And so you get grounded back in your body. And then if you're still feeling a bit spun up, you just say, what is? For me, I would say, my youngest daughter is asleep in her crib. My son is at school. My oldest daughter is at school. To my knowledge, they are safely at school and being taken care of. That is the what is. Then you acknowledge how you are feeling. So you might feel that overwhelm. You might feel that anxiety. You might feel that frustration and that feeling of impotence, like you can't make a difference. All of the feelings that you're feeling, you're not trying to change them. You're not judging them. You're just noticing them and naming them. And then you do something. That's the D of the PAD method. Pause and get present, acknowledge, and do something. If there is something to be done about the situation, that is a really good indicator that you are afraid. You're not anxious, you're afraid. There is action to be taken. But if there's nothing that you can do, or maybe it feels like, oh, there's not something that I can do to impact that situation deeply, but maybe I could make a donation or if I was worried about my kids and I was thinking about what would happen if a fire came. This happened to me a few years ago. The summer after Mark died, we had a grill fire and it made me so terrified. We took care of the situation when it happened. We turned the gas off. We got salt or baking soda, something poured on the fire to stop it. That was what we did in the moment. We were in fear. There was action to be taken. But after that, and for a couple of hours after that, I had this panic attack level of anxiety about what if the house had caught on fire? What if I had to get my 2 kiddos at the time? What if I had to get them out by myself? And what I could do in that moment was I could buy fire extinguishers, and I spent $400 on fire extinguishers and escape ladders to put throughout the house. That gave me some sense of, okay, if that were to happen, I have put some plans in place. I let my kids know, hey, we have a plan. If something were to happen, if the house were to catch on fire or something bad were to happen, we now have a meeting place and we have a backup meeting place. Those were plans I could put in place that gave me a little more confidence that if what I was afraid of would happen, we had a plan. Then I had to get back into the what is. The fire was out. The house is not on fire. And what could I do at that moment besides what I told you about? I could hug my kids. We could have a dance party, because if there is nothing to be done about the situation, you can still do something to change your state. You can do something to get out of those spiraling thoughts and back into your body, back into the place where you feel what is. You feel that confidence and the groundedness of the moment. And again, from that place, you can make stronger decisions about how you want to show up in the world, who you want to be in the world when you are encountering these difficult situations. And another thing that comes up a lot in the conversations I've been having is financial stress. And I've been feeling it too through a series of events, like a large sum of money stolen from me. And that has caused me a lot of anxiety and a lot of overwhelm. And when I get stuck up in those thoughts of how am I going to take care of my babies? How am I going to pay for our bills and their lessons and our food? How am I going to do all of that? And when I'm stuck up in that, in the what if I can't figure it out, it's really hard to make confident moves forward. And so I go through that same thing. I will get back grounded in my body. I will acknowledge all of the feelings. I am scared. I am angry. I'm pissed off. I'm terrified. I'm frustrated. I'm overwhelmed. I'm nervous. And then I will do something. And that might mean reaching out to potential clients, or it might mean reaching out to speaking events. It might mean just coming up with creative plans or following the plans I already have in place, running my business. But when I am up in my head and I am spun up about the financial worry, I can't see those things. I can't feel the grounded ability to move forward. So as I said, if you're human and you're operating in the world where you interact with other people and you are reading the news or just going about your day to day where maybe you're feeling a little extra stress. I mean, we're coming up on the holidays, which can add stress as well. I want to invite you to try the pad method. And also, going back to my coffee mug that I was sharing with you today, is just to give yourself some grace and know that you're not alone. And yes, the specifics of what you're going through are you. So I don't know how you're feeling, but I can imagine it. And I can say that I have confidence that you're doing the best that you can, and that's enough. And so thank you for being here with me today, for letting me talk to you, for letting me share this with you. And I hope that it gives you some level of comfort and just that I am also human and operating in this world. And there are a lot of other people who are human and operating in this world. And if we can all feel a little less isolated, then maybe we can just feel a little bit better. So if you didn't get that website earlier to get that meditation, it's free. You can go to justonedamnminute.com and download that. And once you learn it, you don't need to listen to it again. You can just, it's really easy to do. And it really will help you get back grounded in the moment. So thank you for sharing this moment with me. And I hope to see you here next week. Thanks for joining me today. Let me know if this made you stop and go, damn. If so, leave a comment on the episode, rate and review the show, or reach out on social media. Find me on Instagram at Bevin Farrand, or visit my website and let me know what you want to hear next on All the Damn Things.